welcome to the Bearded Growers. I'm here on my own this week. Bish is having a well-deserved week off, but you've still got an action-packed show coming up on episode 8 of Bearded Growers, where we're talking all about sowing your seeds. Right, on this week's show, you've got JJ's Jobs of the Week. We've also got our Horticultural Hero, and this week we hear from Rich at the Veg Grower Pod, who's going to give us an absolute masterclass in getting our allotments and our growing spaces sorted for those edibles. But first of all, we've got to fly into JJ's Jobs of the Week. Coming in at number 5 on this week's Jobs of the Week is a very important one. If you've got bamboo, it's a great time now to give it a tidy up. You can get rid of any dead sprigs. You can just give it a nice thin out. It'll make it look absolutely lovely. But keep an eye. If your bamboo looks like it's going to go to flower, it could be your last year of that bamboo plant. So remove those flowering stems as quickly as you possibly can. And you should get another possibly end of the year out of it. But once they've flowered, unfortunately, that is the end of bamboo. But that is your number 5 job for this week. Coming in at number 4, plan your plant supports. Now, I need to do this because I've got peonies that are coming in thick and fast in the garden, and they're looking amazing, and they are flying. I've got supports on a couple, but I need supports on more. Right, so get yourselves out, get the garden centres, get creative. Get bamboos. You can use bamboo that you've trimmed off your bamboo when you're tidying it up to create plant supports. But it's very important to plan that now while you can get in there and put those supports in and make everything look fabulous all summer long. Right, coming at number 3, we've got, if you've got rhubarb, good time to mulch. Bit of compost on there, bit of organic material. Get those rhubarb crowns mulched. They'll start producing very, very soon. Some people probably already have something coming out of their rhubarb. I have. Little bits of signs of life are coming. Good time. Give them a good compost up. Give them a feed for the season ahead. But if you force them, don't do it. You've probably still got your forcer on. It does stress the crown out. On forcing, if you're going to force, just do it once. I'd say once every 3 years per crown. Otherwise, you're going to zap too much energy out of your rhubarb, and it's going to suffer for it, and you don't want that because everybody loves rhubarb. It's amazing. Apart from Bish, he hates rhubarb. Weirdo. Right, number 2. You have got to, if you've already done a bit of weeding, like I already have, over the allotment and in the garden, they might start to come back now. We've had a little bit of sun. We've had a little bit of rain. It's perfect growing conditions for those amazing weeds. Yay. But when they're small, catch them. Hoe them off. If it's going to be sunny, hoe them off, leave them on the top. The sun will burn them. They'll scorch them, and then you can pick them up, put them either in your composter if you're getting a good heat from your composter, or just chuck them straight in the bin. The green bin, obviously. And your top job for this week is one I did yesterday, and that is sow your cucumbers. Very, very good time of the year to do this is right now, because you can do them indoors, get them a bit of a head start. I've sown gherkins this time, pickle back I think they are, that I want the variety I've done. We love them in our house because we pickle them, and we do have them as pickled gherkins, more so than your traditional cucumbers. Last year was awkward with them. It was a proper struggle against the slugs and snails, but optimistically there's been a report this week to say that slugs and snails are going to be lower this year because of the wet and weird winter we've had. So who knows, maybe this could be the year of the cucumber. But that was JJ's Jobs of the Week. Well, I'll tell you what, it's weird without Bish. It is proper strange doing it on your own. Now, I could tell you all that he's away because he's having a week off, which I did do in the intro. But the truth of the matter is, as we were leaving British Garden Centres in Rugby last week, Bish was accosted by security. She was about 84, but she accosted him for stealing a bag of compost and a dahlia. We didn't steal it. It was given to him by the wonderful Eve from British Garden Centres. But it was very funny watching Bish get manhandled and a citizen's arrest put on him by an 84-year-old woman. He was defenceless and was overpowered pretty easily. It's quite a sad indictment, really. Anyway, on to the theme of today's show. And today's show, we are going to be talking all about sowing your seeds. As I said in Jobs of the Week, I've done a few. I've started. I feel like I'm late. I'm not. I'm actually bang on time. Maybe even a little bit early. People go so early and it gets you seed sowing envy. And honestly, you've not missed out. Things will catch up. Things will grow really, really quickly. If we're going to get some nice weather, even better. If not, you can just leave things indoors, get a bit of propagating done. Right, the things I've sown in the last week. Beetroot, direct sown into the ground, turned over my bed, added some organic material, did some lovely drills, and I spaced those beetroot seeds out a lot. There's quite a distance between them, probably 3 to 4 inches between each seed. Now, I've done this because beetroot seeds, they're not a single seed, they're a cluster seed. So once you plant one, you could end up with 1, you could end up with 4 or 3. It depends how many seeds in that seed cluster. So I didn't want to do them too close together. I haven't got to thin them out. I can potentially keep a lot more viable seedlings by spreading them out, but they're done. I've also done a catch crop of radishes in with those beetroots. So fingers crossed, in about 4 weeks' time, I'll be sat here absolutely stuffed and full of radish. And that's probably all there will be because nothing else will be ready. But the radishes will be there or thereabouts. What else have I done? Cucumbers, as I said in JJ's Jobs of the Week. I can't wait for those. I've sown them in the greenhouse over the allotment. The one I built myself on the front of my shed. It's all a bit mad. Most of the materials were from the set of Doctors, the old BBC middle of the day drama thing. So that's how I built that shed, and the intention was to do it as a greenhouse so I could get things out of the house, over the allotment and closer to the place they're going to be planted out, which is always a bonus. So they're done. Hopefully those cucumbers will love that. They're in full sun constantly over the allotment, so I'm hoping they're going to kick on. All I need to do is remember to get over and water. Watering is going to be so important in that greenhouse for me, and if you've got one, for yourselves. If it's over your allotment and it's a bit weird, it's a bit humid, like it is at the moment, it's a bit warm, right? 16, 17, a little bit humid, a little bit of rain around. Not the ideal conditions for you to say, I'm going to spend the day at the allotment. But you're going to need to push yourself. If you've got seedlings over your allotment in your greenhouses, get over there and give them a water. Make sure they're okay. You don't want to lose them at this stage. You got time to sow them again, but you've worked hard. Let's keep up the good work. Let's keep those seedlings going. Let's talk tomatoes. I sowed 45 tomato seeds at the weekend. 5 different varieties, 7 of each. I'm very, very optimistic that I'm going to get a really good tomato crop this season. And what did I sow? The varieties were, excuse me, I need to use the phone. Varieties were Pantano, a lovely tomato. Did those last year. They worked an absolute treat. And then I've got 4 new ones. I've got Blue Zimmer. Never tried that before. Looking forward to that. We've got Laura. And we've got JD Specials. They look monstrously huge. They're big beefsteak tomatoes. Can't wait for those. And we've got Don's Double as well. They're all from Tomato Revolution. Just won a competition that the Bearded Growers ran actually last year in the raffle, and she won £50 worth of Tomato Revolution seeds. I've got another 11 varieties of tomato to sow, so I need to get those done ASAP, get those kicking on, and my tomatoes will be sorted, and I'll have enough to give away to friends and family. I'm absolutely sure of it. Also sowed, I've done nasturtiums, which were really cool. Now, that was on the back of listening to the Veg Grower Pod with Richard. Last week, he was talking about companion planting. So I thought, what can I do as companion plants? I normally throw some marigolds in. I might have some sacrificial flowers around, which will draw things in. Last year it was a salvia. It was devastating because it got smashed to pieces by the slugs and snails. But hey ho, right, so nasturtium's brilliant companion plant. What companion plants do you use around your allotment? When I say companion, I mean they're going to help draw pests away, repel pests from your garden, repel pests from your allotment. Let me know in the comments what you would sow as a companion plant to save your veggies. Anyway, I've talked about him once, I've talked about him twice. It's now time for Rich's first Horticultural Hero report on edibles.
What do you mean Lee's upset that he's not being paid yet? I didn't think any of us were getting paid for this. If Lee's getting paid, I want to be paid for it. Get hold of the union. Get hold of the union, they'll sort it. And they'll tell these bearded growers we all want paying. So get on with it. Well, hello everyone. Welcome down to my podding shed. Now, this podding shed is in my vegetable garden. And I'm here because we are into March. March for me is such a busy time of year. It's when it really kicks off and there's so many things that we need to do on the allotment and in the kitchen garden to make sure that we are productive throughout the year. Now, one of the big things that I do think we need to concentrate on, especially at the beginning of March, is just making sure all our winter tasks has been done. That often includes our infrastructure jobs, because I spend much of our winter concentrating on things that we need building, be it our raised beds, our sheds, our greenhouses. Just want to make sure that they are all completed. And don't forget, of course, your winter pruning. That needs to be completed by now as well. If you haven't done it, just go out and do it straight away. Still time, just do it straight away. Now, it's also a very busy time at this time of year for seed sowing. Now, seed sowing is an absolutely amazing time of year. It's an amazing thing that we can do. We take that tiny little seed, something as small as this bean seed, and we then plant that in the ground and it grows into a huge beanstalk. They could be magic beans for all we know. So seed sowing is definitely upon us, and things like tomatoes, cauliflowers, onions, things like that. There's a huge list of seeds that we can sow. There's still a few seeds I would hold off. And what I would also say, most seeds throughout March, we need to sow them indoors. Now, be it in a greenhouse or on your kitchen windowsill. Outdoors, I think it is still a little too cold for most seeds. But if you want to sow your seeds directly in the soil where they are to grow, it's well worth investing in a soil thermometer. These just give you a bit of an idea of what the temperature of the soil is, and that tells you if your seeds are likely to germinate. They're not much money, in all honesty. They're fairly easy to get hold of, just a few quid on Amazon, but they are a great tool. It gives you a good idea of what your soil is doing and what temperature your soil is at. And this can be very important when it comes to seed germination, because seeds need a certain temperature. It differs between seeds, but they need a certain temperature in which they will germinate. So go get yourself a soil thermometer, check your soil temperature and see if that's going to help with your germination. Often seeds fail to germinate for one of several reasons. One, it's too cold, or two, it's too wet. They're the likely reasons. Could also be too dry as well. So we've got finishing the infrastructure jobs, sowing seeds. Also, throughout March, we are starting to see things start to spring into life. Rhubarb is starting to sprout itself. Your asparagus might start sprouting and things like that. So we want to make sure we keep track of those, make sure they are growing comfortably. Keep an eye on the weather forecast, because we may have to run out if we get a sudden cold snap, and cover some of these plants, and not forgetting any plants that we've overwintered, be it our onions or garlic. Run over and pot a fleece over these plants as well. Fleece, again, fairly cheap, well worth just keeping in your shed and just throw them over your plants should you need to. But also, as all these items are starting to spring into life, several other things are starting to spring into life. Weeds. We got to start keeping on top of our weeds, and the more we keep on top of our weeds now, the better it's going to be later on in the year. There's a saying, if you hoe a bed when you don't see a weed, you will never see a weed. And that's certainly true. Get that hoe out, just run it through the soil if your beds are empty, and just try and make sure that weeds do not establish. Added to that, of course, getting on your hands and knees and just picking those weeds out by hand to make sure we have no weeds. Do it now. Do it little and often. Try and do it daily if you can. It will make your year so much easier. But not only weeds are starting to spring into life, so is the nature and so is wildlife. We're already hearing a lot more birds flying around and tweeting, which is a good sign. But these animals are going to be hungry and for many things. And things like birds, maybe squirrels, maybe hedgehogs, frogs and toads. We want to encourage those. We want to give them plenty of food so they can find us, and then they can hopefully come along and eat those slugs and snails. Because the slugs and snails are also going to start popping out of their houses, popping out of the soil as well, and they're going to make a beeline for some of our plants as well, particularly things like lettuce. So we want to make sure that we're feeding the wildlife, giving bird feed, hedgehog feed, giving them a home, insect houses, bird houses, anything like that you can do to help the wildlife that we want. And in theory, they should help reduce the amount of the wildlife that we don't want, such as slugs and snails. I'm not a lover of using poisons at all, but if we can encourage nature into our gardens, into our allotments, it helps with the keeping of our slugs and snails down. So 3 things we really want to concentrate on: infrastructure, seed sowing, and nature and wildlife. That's what I'm concentrating on this month. Let me know if you want to get in touch. I'm Richard at theveggrowpodcast.co.uk. You can hear me on the Veg Grower podcast as well. Right, you take care. What did the union say? Are they on it? What?
Right, just to get this cleared up, there is no payment, lads. Lee, Rich, pack it in. Kate and Jen have been far nicer about doing this for absolute free. Okay? So, the union thing. Don't worry about the union. They're not going to find us. No one knows where we are. We're in a shed in an unknown location. So, let's just back onto what Rich has said. Couldn't agree more with him, apart from about the union and the payment thing. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Seed sowing. Yes, yes, yes. Bang on tune for today's show. And the nature. Oh my God. I've got new bird houses, new bird feeders up, and I'm loving watching the new birds come in to the garden and over the allotment as well. I've not neglected that. So if I'm feeding them, they're going to come in. There's going to be more of them. They're going to feast upon the pests, and they're going to save me a job having to deal with them because they'll eat them. All right, which is wicked. And then you're starting that cycle. The food chain is there. It's ace. Do it. Implore you. Also, brilliant time to get your bug houses up as well. Great time of the year to do it. That was not fake news, but this is fake garden news. This week, Monty Don tells us why you should not put preserves on your genitalia. It's going to be sticky down there if you do that, Mont, just to let you know. Not that I've tried it, honestly. Bish told me. Anyway, right, I'm going to end this now. I'm going to wrap it up. It feels weird without Bish being here. He's back next week. I can't wait. The dastardly duo back together again. Next week's episode, you'll also hear from Kate at Pumpkins, etc., giving us her first Horticultural Hero report on houseplants. Can't wait. Houseplants, I'm getting the bug again. I need to stop. Really, really need to stop. Love them. Anyway, that's enough for me. Please like, subscribe and share. Please share. Share. Social media. Get the shares going. Right? Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. Share. If you love it and you think others might, please give it a share. Right, that'll do. It's enough begging for one night. Bearded Growers, out.